Hey there, ready for more? Well, do I have a mind-blowing story to tell you? Brace yourself as you dive into the captivating journey of Lora's pursuit to become queen. Will she triumph over the odds? Or will it be Victor who claims the throne? Get ready, for this electrifying saga will have
Upon
you glued
arrival
to the
to
edge
the
of your
palace,
seat. Lora marveled and amazed at how beautiful the palace was. She was greeted and welcomed by all except Agatha. As Lora settled into her new reality as part of the royal family, the gravity of her situation began to sink in. She had met her long-lost family, a network of relatives she had never known existed. The palace buzzed with gossip following the shocking revelation that she was now a potential heir to the throne. The hierarchy of the kingdom had shifted, and questions lingered in the air: would Lora or Victor ultimately rule? The court was rife with speculation, and the tension was palpable. Victor, still reeling from his own recovery and the implications of their sibling bond, took his responsibilities seriously. He understood the importance of his role as the crown prince, especially now that Lora was a part of the equation. His father had left behind a multitude of tasks, and each day brought new challenges as townsfolk came to the palace, seeking help and guidance. Victor was determined to care for his people, but the burden weighed heavily on his shoulders. Meanwhile, Victor's stepmother, Lady Agatha, was not pleased with the shift in dynamics. She had always envisioned her son as the sole heir, and Lora's emergence threatened her plans. Agatha was cunning and ambitious, and she quickly set a nefarious scheme into motion. Collaborating with a close friend who shared her disdain for the new order, she began to spread rumors and sow discord. Insult after insult flew in at Lora's direction. Agatha asserts that Lora would never grasp the intricacies of ruling a kingdom. Despite the turmoil in the palace, Lora's heart was elsewhere. She felt an overwhelming desire to visit her adoptive family on the farm. She needed answers. She thought, why did her parents hide this secret? What had driven them to keep such a monumental secret? The longing to reconnect with her past gnawed at her, and she often found herself daydreaming about the fields and the simple joys of farm life. One evening, as they sat together in the grand library of the palace, Lora turned to Victor, a determined look in her eyes. "You promised to help me find the answers to my questions," she reminded him gently. Victor nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. "I know, and I want to. But first, I still have a few more issues to resolve here. The people need me, and I can't just abandon them." "I understand, but I need to know about my family," Lora replied, her voice earnest. "I need to understand who I am and where I come from." Victor reached for her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "I promise, as soon as I wrap up these tasks, we will set off together. Our adventure awaits." Days turned into weeks, with Victor tirelessly addressing the concerns of the kingdom. Finally, the day arrived when he felt ready to embark on their journey. He had managed to resolve the pressing issues, and now the two of them could finally set out to discover the truth behind Lora's past. As they prepared for their adventure, Lora's excitement bubbled over. She couldn't wait to see the farm, to embrace the family that had raised her with love and care. The thought of facing her adoptive parents filled her with a mix of joy and anxiety. "Are you ready?" Victor asked, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. "More than ready," Lora replied, determination shining in her gaze. With that, they set off, leaving the palace behind. The journey was filled with laughter and shared stories, both of them growing closer as they traversed the countryside. Lora felt a sense of freedom as they traveled, the weight of royal expectations temporarily lifted from her shoulders. As Lora and Victor journeyed toward her adoptive parents' farm, the tranquility of the countryside was shattered by an unexpected ambush. A group of men, armed with swords and malice in their hearts, sprang from the shadows, their intentions clear: they sought to harm the prince. Lora's heart raced with fear. She had never encountered danger like this in her life. Victor, still recovering from his injuries, felt a surge of adrenaline. Lucky for him, he had brought along his loyal protector, Sir Paul, one of his finest knights. Paul sprang into action, sword drawn, ready to defend his prince. Victor, recalling his training, and grabbed his own weapon. Though his movements were hindered by his lingering injuries, he jumped into action to fight despite the pain, channeling the skills he had learned. The clash of steel echoed through the trees as the battle unfolded. Lora watched in a mix of horror and awe as Paul and Victor fought valiantly, fighting to fend off their attackers. They were skilled, but Victor's injuries placed him at a disadvantage, and Lora couldn't shake the fear that he might be hurt again. Finally, they managed to subdue one of the attackers, pinning him to the ground. Victor glared down at the man, anger coursing through him. "Who sent you? Why are you here?" he demanded. The man remained silent, eyes defiant. Paul quickly bound him with rope and secured him to a nearby tree. Searching the man's belongings, they discovered a piece of paper with orders signed by Charles to get rid of Victor and Lora. Victor's blood ran cold at the implication. "How dare he?" he roared, fury bubbling to the surface. The man finally spoke, desperation creeping into his voice. "I was just trying to save my family. We are starving." Laura's heart softened at his cry. She turned to Victor, who was still seething with anger. "What if we help him?" she suggested, her voice steady. "He's desperate." Victor's anger faded slightly as he considered her words. "Fine. Well, take him home and make sure his family is cared for," his tone still firm. "But he will be watching him closely. If he tries anything again, I won't hesitate." With that, they continued their journey, dragging David with them. Lora felt a surge of compassion as she promised to help him and his family. Finally, they arrived at the farm, and the moment Laura's parents spotted her in the distance, joy erupted. They rushed to embrace her, tears of happiness streaming down their cheeks. They prepared a hearty meal, filling the air with the comforting aroma. As they sat around the dinner table, Lora recounted her adventures in the city, the revelation of her royal lineage, and her newfound connection to Victor. Her parents exchanged glances, their expressions turning serious as they prepared to explain their long-held secret. "We promised to keep you safe," they said, their voices filled with regret. "We feared that revealing your heritage would put you in danger. Your biological mother, Lora, is living nearby and has dedicated her life to helping young girls facing unplanned pregnancies through a place she calls Lora's Refuge." Paul chimed in, "I know where that is. We can go first thing in the morning." The next day, they set out to find Lora. As they approached, the sun glinted off the woman standing outside, tending to her horse. Lora's heart raced as she got closer. Lora recognized Victor coming from a distance. Lora's face lit up with a smile. She said, "I'm glad you survived the accident." Lora greeted him warmly. Victor's curiosity piqued. "How do you know?" he asked. "I was the one you hit," she replied, her voice steady. "Your car flipped and landed on mine. I was also the one who donated my blood for your recovery." Victor was stunned, realization washing over him. He felt a rush of gratitude toward this woman who had unknowingly saved his life. "I owe you everything," he said sincerely. "Whatever you need, I will help you." Turning to Lora's gaze softened. As their eyes met, tears filled Lora's eyes. "You look just like your father," she whispered, recognizing the familiar features. "I'm so sorry for everything." Lora explained that she had shared a brief, passionate encounter with Victor first, which had led to Lora's conception. Victor the first got angry about the news. He ordered her to get rid of the pregnancy. He told her that he didn't love her and he did not want his father finding out that he slept with a commoner and got her pregnant. After being rejected, Lora felt compelled to hide her pregnancy, fearing for her child's future. With heavy hearts, she had placed Lora with the loving couple who raised her, believing it to be the only way to ensure her safety. Lora felt a rush of compassion for her mother as she listened to Lora's story. She embraced Lora, understanding the difficult choices that had been made out of love. The next day, they returned to the palace. Victor is now determined to confront the threats against him and Lora. Upon their arrival, Lady Agatha was frightened. She thought that she will never see them again. He presented the orders to find Charles and demanded answers. Charles would never do this, Lady Agatha protested, panic rising in her voice. Victor's fury ignited anew. Find him. Bring him to me, he ordered. When Charles was brought before Victor, he demanded an explanation. When the man hesitated to answer, Victor offered him a stark choice: reveal the truth or face execution. The fear in Charles' eyes was palpable. Your stepmother needed both of you gone, Charles confessed, his voice trembling. She wanted her son to be the only heir to the throne. Victor was in disbelief, hurt by the betrayal of someone he had considered family. Soon after, David was brought in, and he confirmed that this was not the first time Agatha had plotted against Victor. He recounted how he had witnessed her attempt to poison Victor. Furious, Victor ordered Lady Agatha and Charles to be thrown in the dungeon. He then turned to David, offering him a chance to care for his family under strict surveillance. David accepted gratefully, vowing to stay on the straight path. Weeks passed, and the time for Victor to assume the throne arrived. One evening, as they walked through the palace gardens, Lora turned to Victor. I think you should rule this kingdom. I don't wish to be queen. You're more suitable for the role, you've prepared for it all your life. Victor hesitated, searching her face for signs of doubt. Are you sure this is what you want? Yes, she affirmed. I will stand by you and help you whenever you need me. The day of the coronation was magnificent. The palace was adorned with flowers, and the air was filled with music and laughter. Lora beamed as she watched Victor take his place as king, the pride of the kingdom shining in his eyes. Surrounded by loved ones, including her adoptive parents and Lora felt a sense of belonging she had longed for. As the ceremony unfolded, she and Victor exchanged glances, their unbreakable bond solidified by the trials they had faced together. In that moment, Lora knew that while their journey had been tumultuous, they had emerged stronger than ever, ready to embrace whatever the future held for them and the kingdom.